this year we saw huge rate increases with the ACA, and a lot of people are asking about these short-term health insurance plans. They are designed for short periods of coverage, maybe a gap between other options, but some people use them for their full-time health insurance. So we want to make sure that you guys are going to know, by the end of the episode, you'll know exactly what a short-term health plan is, what it covers, and what it doesn't, and how it stacks up against your other options. So we're blessed today by another visit from Kim Anderson, my general agent from Black Gould and Associates, a Warner Pacific company. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
I just saw, I think you're coming up on 17 or 18 years with Black Gould?
Yeah, 18 years.
Wow. Yeah. Now, how long have you been in the industry?
I started I did a short stint in some accounting work right out of college, but that was in 2008. And so that was when the recession happened, and then moved over to Black Gould, just kind of out of chance. Yeah. Usually, I think with insurance, you either out of chance or have family or something, but I fell on the out of chance side and just have stuck with it through there.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm coming up on 23 years. So,
oh my gosh.
But I kind of fell into it too, working for my dad. And it was seriously the best decision I ever made. Yeah. And you just really learn to love it, I think, working with people. And
somebody told me the other day that, so I got my degree in education, and I've always kind of thought to myself, like, well, I never really used my degree. Well, I kind of have. Yeah. Actually, every day I do use a piece of education or learning myself. So.
Well, the big annual events you guys put on are fantastic for getting ready for open enrollment for the ACA. It's tremendous. I love that you put it all on one day now.
Yes.
Versus having to attend each separate webinar or meeting. So anyway, thank you for that.
Yeah, good,
so,
good.
Anyway, really good to have you here.
Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about short-term health insurance, what it actually is. So a quick disclosure, short-term health plans are not ACA compliant. They don't cover all the essential benefits. There are some limitations. There's some medical underwriting. So we just want to make sure that you guys are fully aware of what they are and what they are not. So from the carrier side, what do you think? How do you think they stack up against other traditional health insurance plans?
So the point that you made of them not being credible coverage, that's one of the key differences, is that when you're looking at the Affordable Care Act versus the, say, United Health One, Allstate, Pivot, those short-term medical plan options, it's not credible coverage. So it's not going to be required to include some of the same key essential health benefits that your ACA plans are.
Right.
And so those are important things to consider when you're comparing your options. And when we're the carrier side, of course, the United, the Allstate, the Pivots of the world, they love them these time of year because their premiums are sometimes less for those that maybe don't qualify for
the
a
higher
subsidy.
income earners,
Yep. So it can be a good alternate option with a wide network of providers, but you just have to be very aware of what type of coverage that you're getting.
Yeah, this is actually, I like this time of year, I'm more comfortable with them because I'm like, okay, we only have until maybe September 1st till the end of the year. Then we get into ACA open enrollment. So I like to recommend that people do these on a calendar year basis, because if something does come up, a cancer, a heart condition, you cannot qualify medically for them again. So at least you're ending your plan during the ACA open enrollment. And that's when we'll get into that in a little bit, but that's when you don't have to have any medical underwriting and you get that full coverage.
Yes, and so that is a great point, that you don't want that coverage to end, or you want it to align with that calendar year, so that you don't find yourself in a sticky situation where you're without coverage when you need it.
Yeah, no employer plan, no other options.
Yes.
Can't qualify for Medicaid. Yeah, so you don't want these type of plans to end mid-year, basically, I guess is what we're saying too, is if you're going to do it calendar year. One year at a time, maybe.
See some options where within these plans you can choose your desired time frame or your length of policy. So you have the ability to kind of curate it to where you have the policy maybe this time of the year. You choose to cover yourself just through the end of December.
Right.
So that then come open enrollment time starting November 1st, that you can reevaluate and you can say, okay, do I like this type of plan that I'm on currently? And then maybe you extend that to where you're reapplying. You do have to reapply because you've only chosen that short period of the term. And at that point, then you have your January 1st start date. And you have the option, some of them with the option of having up to 3 years of coverage minus 1 day, so that you can have that term to keep you wanted, still recommending reevaluating it from year to year.
Yeah. And we don't know what 27 is going to look like for the ACA. So November 1st is when the rates and the plans come out. Sometimes we get a little hints beforehand, but sometimes we wait till November 1st before we can quote.
Yes, and we have some rate filings that we've seen, just the preliminary rate filings, ranging anywhere from a 3% up to 25%.
Okay, so that's really good to know. Yeah. Thank you. I've been anxious to hear.
Yeah, so I think especially this year we're going to see, we saw some of that last year with the short-term plans and the increases in the premiums becoming more popular for people to at least look at and consider, but I think we'll see that even more this year.
It's, I always welcome looking at all of your options, but just be fully informed about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This year, I don't know if you aren't on the ACA now, but we had 50% rate increases, sometimes more if somebody lost a subsidy. So it's been an interesting insurance year. So everybody's a little nervous for 2027. But
yes, I don't think we'll see quite as high of increases, but we are still seeing some,
higher than normal,
unfavorable.
Yeah.
Increases,
Okay.
yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, good to know.
Yep.
For short-term plans in the past. So right now we're in August of 2026. Regulations and rules can change at any time for these plans. So if you're catching this episode, 6 months from now, things could have changed. As of right now in Arizona, we can do 1 month up to 36 months. So that's with the companies I work with. Are they different with any other ones that you work with?
No, the majority of them, now that can vary by state.
Yes.
Because for example, California, short-term medical plans are not offered at all. So there are some states where that can vary. Nevada, you can only have up to 4 months of the term.
We've been there
not
before.
Too long ago, we were in that same boat. So just know that can vary by state. But yes, currently in Arizona, of the short-term medical carriers, they are available for up to that 36-month.
Okay, nice. And so one of the companies, they want you to do a 12-month policy, but you can, as long as you keep it 1 month, and then you can call and cancel it if you only need it at that 4-month period.
You can. And then some of them do give some discounts if you make like a premium payment
The
upfront.
single payment, yes. 20% discount with some of them.
Yes. And so they will give you a prorated refund based off of the time frame that you're canceling.
So even if you get the 20% discount. Nice. That's
you have
really
to
good.
Keep the policies for a minimum of 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So so you work with hundreds of brokers. What should brokers check before they are considering this for their client or to fully inform their client?
So the biggest decision making when it comes to these plans is, number one, they do not cover pre-existing conditions. So if you're somebody working with clients, or you're a client, or you're a member or a consumer yourself looking at these policies, if you have pre-existing conditions, you need to take those into account to determine, one, is this going to be a good fit for you? Because those pre-existing conditions, depending on the carrier, won't ever be covered on the plan. With the enrollment process or the application process, you have to answer medical questions to where the carrier will do an underwriting review on those questions to determine if you'll be accepted or at what rate. If you are accepted, you will be accepted at.
Right. And it's more for the more serious, I guess, but it's a heart condition, diabetes, an autoimmune disease, pregnancy. Those are all
declines.
Can be declines, yeah.
Yes. Cancer. Sometimes even if you've had some mental health issues within the past year.
Yes, I had one with depression that came up, and they did decline because the medication is run.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing, as far as those pre-existing conditions go, the look back that they consider is anything that you have received treatment for, been prescribed medication for, given advice or counsel by a medical provider within the past 2 years is anything once you are approved. So the questions on the application will go back as far as 5 years.
Yeah.
But anything that they won't cover that's in your medical records is the past 2 years.
Okay.
So
I had one last week. Somebody applied, or they were about to apply, and then they called me and they said, "Hey, I was wearing a heart monitor last week, and I don't have the results back yet." I said, "Okay,
Yes.
we need to put all this on hold. because we need a diagnosis, and there is a question about anything that is not yet diagnosed,
Yes.
any upcoming surgeries. So anything like that is going to put everything on pause.
One of the carriers, United Health One, also actually has a question on there if you've been in the United States for less than 12 months.
Oh, yes, good point.
So if you, that doesn't mean that there's not any options out there for you, because not every carrier's medical questions or the questions for acceptance are the same. So just because you might not be accepted with one carrier doesn't mean that is going to be the same for another carrier. But that is something also that they take into account with some of them.
Right. And then we always like to look at what are all of your health insurance options. Do you have a plan available at work? Do you have a spouse or even a domestic partner? Sometimes you can get on their group health plan. You get pre-tax premium deductions, which can be a big advantage. So again, look at all of your options. This is just one of them.
And what we are seeing sometimes too with brokers is they're getting creative with their clients. And maybe this is a fit for one spouse and not the other, because one might have pre-existing conditions and immediate medical needs. Whereas this could be a cost-saving options for somebody that doesn't quite need to go to the provider very often, or they're really looking for that catastrophic coverage to cap the out-of-pocket exposure.
Yeah.
So that's initially what these were built for, was number one, the short-term period, sometimes when you're in between a job or in between coverage, that it gives you that option of having something in that in-between time. But now we're seeing them used for longer lengths of period of time because of the extended term limits that are being offered. But really for those that are looking to cap that out-of-pocket exposure and that risk.
Right. Okay. So where do short-term plans fall short? What are some common limitations?
So that big one of the pre-existing conditions, not offering those. They also don't cover preventative services at 100%. So the ACA
Or it's very
plan,
minimal. Yeah.
Yeah, so they do, some of the plans give some limitations of coverage, but it is still going to be where you have some cost share with that, whereas your ACA plans cover those at 100% for those preventative services.
Right.
There are some other limitations, though. I just always advise brokers to tell their clients or members, review the policy exclusions and limitations in these policy documents.
Yes.
As you're looking at the plans, because sometimes there's little things in there that a major medical plan will cover that, because these are not credible coverage plans, they have some flexibility and freedom of those different policy exclusions and limitations.
Yeah, they're not subject to all the regulations that the ACA plans are.
Correct.
Which can be a benefit, I guess, for cost, to keep
Sure.
the costs down, but it's going to limit your coverage. It may not be what you expect it to be.
Yes. Yeah. I've seen some limitations in there, like joint replacement. It won't cover a joint replacement if they're replacing it all together, but if it's fixing the joint, then it'll cover that. So just some tricky things in there sometimes, but overall, for any of your catastrophic needs, it's going to be a good fit.
Okay. And one thing that comes up too is sometimes, I've brought this up in other episodes, sometimes to insure just one child with a group health plan can be $600 or more. So with these plans, we do have one company that I work with that will cover them at 60 days. And then my other insurance company won't even cover a child alone. They have to be 18 years old. So it may or may not be a fit for a child unless that adult or parent is enrolling with them.
That's correct. Yes.
So I think another benefit difference is that the caps can be different. So a lot of these plans might cover $1 million or $2 million at most, where the ACA plans don't have a limit on your benefits. So
yes, that's another difference.
Kind of rare probably, but it can happen. I've had it happen with family members and friends. So,
and I would say that is where it's important that if you are somebody that took out a short-term medical policy and then you have something that comes up that is a chronic condition need, or that you are meeting some of those or getting close to meeting some of those limits, that's where you would get with your broker come that open enrollment period and reevaluate your needs going into the next year to determine, is this still the best option for me, or do I need to go on something that doesn't have a limit like the Affordable Care Act plans?
Right, exactly. It's always good to review once a year. Not fun for anybody. Nobody enjoys it. But we're here to guide, and it really does make it a lot easier when you have somebody that works in it day after day and can really just kind of point these things out for you. Okay, you have this option, pros and cons, this option, pros and cons, but what else? Do you have a business? Can we do a group health plan? Do you have a benefit at work? Does your spouse have a benefit at work? When is there open enrollment? So there's a lot to consider.
There really is. And the goal is that you don't have to change your plan. Nobody wants to change. But if it is to your benefit with what your needs are, and if your needs have changed, that might determine what is the best option for you.
Yes, and health is probably the primary one.
Yes.
How is your health? And did anything new come up?
Absolutely.
So is there a certain limitation that you think is maybe surprising that we haven't talked about yet that might be a limitation on these plans?
I really think that the biggest thing that people run into any kind of roadblocks with is those pre-existing conditions, and then the underwriting when they're going to apply, that it's not like the Affordable Care Act plan where they are automatically accepted, and with the Affordable Care Act plans, their pre-existing conditions are covered from day one.
Yeah.
That's not the same with these plans, and that's one of the biggest differences. The other thing that I think is a positive for these plans is that they are PPO plans, most of them.
Yeah, great networks.
So they have great networks, including your Mayo Clinic.
Yeah.
So somebody that is looking for a Mayo Clinic, those are included in most of the networks. And
but it's not for the preventive care and the things they might be thinking of.
But it's not for the preventative care and pre-existing conditions. So a lot of times if somebody needs that, it might be because they are already needing access to those services.
Right.
But if you're just somebody that would like to have the option to go there if something were to come up,
right, something serious,
that's a good fit for you, and that does give you the option. Also gives the option of that national network. So when you're traveling, you do have access to national contracted providers,
right,
and the option to step outside the network. You're going to pay more if you do that, but it does still give you a larger network with that flexibility of going outside of it.
Yeah, that's a good point too, the nationwide network, because I have some clients that have maybe a child's in school in another state, but they're a resident of Arizona.
Yes.
And we have one company that will cover you in 27 states this year.
Yes.
It could change, but that's just the one company. And what if the other doctors aren't in network, or what if the state that the child is in is not one of those states? So
I've seen
could be a fit there.
Ways that brokers have worked. You mentioned college kids out of state. That is sometimes when you're looking at those Affordable Care Act plans, kind of can be tricky, because if it's an HMO plan and they're going outside of the state, if you enroll them, say here, your child goes to school in Texas or wherever they're going, that only gives them emergency coverage. So I've seen
with most of the companies,
creative ideas with that of, maybe you have the child pick up the access to the school clinics that they have on campus. And sometimes those can be very inexpensive per month, and that gives them their everyday access to care if they get sick or have some of those common illnesses, and then they pick up a short-term plan for their emergency coverage. And so they have that.
I like the combination of those two.
When they're going into school.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into how the short-term plans compare with other options. So a big one is the marketplace plans. You and I work together on those. So some differences between the ACA and the short-term plans. ACA plans are guarantee issue, like we talked about. You don't have to answer any medical questions, and can be a big plus for a lot of people.
Yes.
What are some other benefits, do you think, with the ACA versus a short-term, or how it might be a better fit?
So those essential health benefits, that's a big deal. So when we say essential health benefits, those are things like having to cover maternity coverage. Short-term medical plans don't cover maternity coverage unless it's a complication, which that we get into the nitty-gritty of that, and that's
it's all about coding and
essentially it doesn't cover maternity is what the best thing to go off of is. So covering maternity, not having lifetime limits. Preventative services covered at 100%. So those are some of those essential health benefits that you're going to see the differences there. And we've talked about some of those already. The pre-existing conditions not being covered, the underwriting that happens with the application process, Those are going to be some of the differences when you're looking at specifically the Affordable Care Act versus the short-term medical. Also, that short-term medical coverage, I've said, not being credible coverage. And while it is still giving you coverage for medical needs and medical services, where that can become important is, let's just say you found yourself with that plan ending in the middle of the year. In order to go and apply for an Affordable Care Act plan, you have to be coming off of or losing other credible coverage.
Yeah, or having another special event like getting married, having a baby.
Yes.
Moving to another county or state.
If you lost that short-term medical plan, sometimes people think, well, if I lose that and I can't get underwritten again to go on it again, I'll just go on the Affordable Care Act plan. Well, that doesn't work out so well.
Right. Yeah, open enrollment is coming up November 1st when anybody can apply.
Yes.
But that's why we like to go by pretty close to calendar year, because the ACA plans will start January 1st.
Yes.
So, and then the other benefit is that with the ACA, a lot of people can qualify for a subsidy, the cost share reduction. So sometimes if you look at an ACA plan or you go on healthcare.gov and you're just kind of shopping around and you don't check for a subsidy, the ACA plans may look expensive and the short-term plan may look more affordable, but your out-of-pocket risk may be $25,000 versus $10,000.
Yes.
You may not qualify. There are a lot of benefits with the ACA that you don't want to not consider.
Yes, depending on what your income is. While the full price premium may not be attractive or less than the short term, if your income qualifies you for that subsidy, it can make it sometimes far less than the short-term medical plan.
Far less, yes. Yeah, there's certain income ranges you want to fall between. Just to give you an idea, a single person needs to be roughly between about $23,000 and $62,000 adjusted or modified adjusted gross income for this year.
Yes.
So if you're in that range, check your tax form. The 1040 tax return, line 11 is going to give you what your adjusted gross income was for last year, and that'll help you kind of predict what it is for this year or even for next year. So definitely worth considering. More comprehensive on the ACA if that's what you want. Now, how about comparing them with employer or COBRA coverage? Maybe you're in a 30 to 60-day window of waiting for a new job plan to start. That would be a good time to consider the short-term plan
for that. But again, you want to take into account your income, because while that you might just need that for a short period of time, that doesn't mean that you can't get the Affordable Care Act plans. You can get those. But a short-term plan, that's truly what they were built for, is for that gap in coverage where you're waiting for coverage to start or you think you need it just for a short period of time. That's the meat of what those plans were designed for.
Yes. And if you do qualify for a group health plan, you most likely cannot get a subsidy on the ACA. So that's something to consider too, is if you have a group health plan available, most cases, the subsidy is not available to you. So something to keep in mind is that with your employer plan, only if the cost for the employer plan is over about 10% of your gross income and is deemed unaffordable, then maybe you can get a subsidy on the ACA. But again, that gets a little complicated. It's easy for me to run a calculation if you want to just run it by me or reach out to your broker. So just something to keep in mind as far as the ACA versus the short-term plans.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, and then we have Medicaid. I don't do anything with Medicaid. It's a state health plan, but do you have any comparison with Medicaid? Have you worked with that at all?
So Medicaid is, like you said, our state-based plan referred to as Access here in Arizona. And you're right, brokers really can't assist their clients with enrolling in that. It's based off of income, but the income is a little bit different in how they take that into account versus the Affordable Care Act. Can't really go into details on that because they ask different questions, and because we can't assist, it's hard to give all those details. But what I will say is that it is HMO plans. Typically, they require referrals from your primary care doctor. You have to stay within the certain network of providers for those. They do cover pre-existing conditions, and it is based off of a low income being able to qualify for those or not having other possible coverage options like the employer and being enrolled in those. When we're comparing those or considering the Affordable Care Act plans, it is something that you want to take into account because there is such a thing as your income being too low to qualify for the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
And if it is determined that you qualify for access, or sometimes they, if you enroll and your income is being monitored through the Affordable Care Act, they may determine that you qualify and send your information over for you to apply with access. So just something that if your income possibly could qualify you for that is an option you may need to consider.
Okay, like if your income is, if you're maybe taking a time off to go to school or something, your income is zero, that might be a good time to apply.
Yes.
And I've heard it can take up to 30 days for a decision, so the sooner you apply for Medicaid, the better, especially before we get into the busy open enrollment season.
But if you are losing Medicaid, or if you've been denied from Medicaid during those open enrollment periods, or losing it outside of gives you a qualifying event, that is where you can go and look at these other options, most likely being the Affordable Care Act plan, because you most likely are going to get assistance.
Right, if you're going from a lower income and then maybe your income is too high and that's why you get terminated,
yes,
then you're going to could be a really good fit for the ACA.
Yes. Whereas when we see somebody coming from the employer side, if they've been on a PPO plan and then they're trying to compare their options, that's where the short-term medical might be a good fit for them with that PPO option, because it's that wider network. Maybe they don't qualify for assistance because their income's higher. Right. So just different options to keep in mind when you're talking with your broker of, what do I have available to me? What's going to be a good fit?
Right. And another type of plan that is not insurance is like a health share ministry plan. I looked at those years ago when the whole Affordable Care Act was coming out. I chose not to represent them because I'm not comfortable with them. There's no guarantee of payments. You're just sharing with other members in the group. Yes. No guarantee they're going to pay your claims. Have you gotten any feedback from brokers about that?
Yes. I would just say be very hesitant and really do your homework, ask questions, look at the policy exclusions and limitations on those even further than from the short-term medical, because
yes,
they're not credible coverage either. And really you have someone making a decision for you, because it's essentially a board of people that are using the members' premiums to decide how those premiums are dispersed. And so they are making decisions. Is it necessary for you to have the services that you're trying to have or achieve? And I have had a lot of feedback on claims not being paid, or really having to fight to get the surgeries or the services that ones are trying to get, lawsuits that have happened. So if you're somebody that doesn't utilize your policy very often, you can save premium in it, but it's when you need it, when you go to use it, that people have run into some big issues. So we also don't offer that for our brokers. We don't contract with them. But it's your policy, your care, your peace of mind, your choice. So just make sure you read the fine print in those.
Right. I had somebody come to me a couple weeks ago and they didn't realize there was a 12-month wait for maternity, and she's pregnant with 3 babies.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. So that's an important distinction too, is just knowing that there's probably could be a 12-month wait for maternity.
Or some of them don't cover pre-existing condition, or don't cover maternity at all. Or you have to add that as an add-on for it to be covered. So they kind of have, they just work
be
very
careful.
different.
Yeah,
Yes.
Be careful.
Yes.
Not something we're comfortable with, but
yes,
but it's up to you to be informed, know what the benefits are, know what the exclusions are.
Yes.
That's all you can do. Okay,
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so people that short-term plans will make sense for, we've talked about people just in a short window gap. Maybe you have a waiting period, you're going from one employer to the next, you have just a short gap in coverage. Perfect, you're healthy, no problem. They're very quick and easy. If you applied today, you can literally put it in place as early as tomorrow. So they're very, very easy to put into place. But maybe somebody that missed an enrollment deadline, they missed their enrollment deadline at work, or they missed the open enrollment for the ACA. They just kind of need to bridge the gap till their employer has the next renewal period and open enrollment. What are some other people that you think would be a good fit?
I think another one that we're seeing a lot nowadays is we talked about just using it for that catastrophic purpose. But with that, I'm going to throw in the concierge model that we're seeing doctors move to more and more. And so we've had brokers come and say, okay, my client is saying really they go to their concierge doctor for everything that they need. So they just need that catastrophic purpose. Well, this might be a good fit because typically if they're paying for the concierge model, they have money. And so that might be something that gives you that emergency coverage that you would need for the other services.
Right. Yeah, the short-term plans, it's for a new illness or new injury.
Yes.
That's kind of to boil it down to very simple
Cap your
terms.
risk.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So that's another good option in addition to some of them that we've already talked about.
Yeah, or somebody that can't qualify for the subsidy, but just be aware of what it covers.
Premiums.
Yeah. Hopefully we're not going to see another 2026, but we'll see in 2027.
Yes.
So the rates come out November 1st, so that'll be a good time to review all of these options and really wait till then to see how the premiums and the benefits compare with each other. All right, so short-term plan, again, is designed as a bridge tool. It's not a substitute for comprehensive coverage. You want to know exactly what you're getting before you enroll. This was just generalized education, not personalized service, and rules vary by states, and they change often. So reach out to me or your local broker if you want to do a coverage review before or during open enrollment. You can compare actual numbers, coverage, and side-by-side comparisons. So thank you very much, Kim, for coming again. And this is a good discussion. I think it's going to be a really hot topic this year as 2027 is approaching. It's going to be here really soon. I know you're getting ready for Medicare also, which begins in November. But for the ACA, we're looking at November 1st, and employer plans start November 1st. Sometimes for open enrollment, a lot of them renew in January. So big health insurance time. So. So thank you again.
Of course. Hopefully you're getting comfortable with just some of the options that you have out there, and Lisa can help you with all those.
Yeah, there are a lot of options to consider, but we just want to make sure you're fully informed.
Yes.
I hope this conversation really helped you understand all of your options, you got the full picture for the short-term medical plans and how they compare with your other options for health insurance. Be sure to follow for more clear and confident health insurance decisions and guidance. Follow Health Insurance Sherpa on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're getting your podcast. If you have a question or an idea for a future episode, I would really love to hear it. If you want to reach out to Kim, where could they reach out to you?
So you can find me or email me at kim.anderson@blackgould.com, which is GOULD, or on LinkedIn. Through Lisa.
Perfect. I'll put your link in the episode too. So thank you guys for listening. If you want to reach out to me, I'm at lisa@ecafinancial.com. And just thank you again for listening.
Great. Thank you.